If the Joplin City Council votes on annexing and rezoning more than 500 acres that could be used for a potential data center.
And we've got another warm and breezy day across the region, and we do have new fire weather watches in place. We'll take a look at all that coming up.
Plus, an Arkansas community rallies around a first responder.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is now Wednesday. Yes, it is Wednesday, February the 18th. I thought yesterday was Monday. No, what was Wednesday?
You messed up the date. You kept on saying it was the 16th, but you've nailed the date today.
I've got it down. I think it is the 18th. It is Wednesday, halfway through the week, and we've got one more mild day ahead of us before our temperatures begin to take a little bit of a tumble as we head into the weekend, and we'll get to that in a moment. But of course, first we got another pretty beautiful day, breezy though out there and dry. We're going to start with our live look from downtown Pittsburgh, and there it is. We've got some clouds rolling through the area this morning. We're going to have some partly cloudy skies as we head through the morning hours, and our Westco camera, 7th and range line in Joplin, also looks good so far. Heading over to the KDOT camera, 69-400. Not too bad. And our final stop, 20th and range line in Joplin, looks good as well. Temperatures also look pretty good, pretty similar to yesterday. We've got 55 in Joplin, 54 in Pittsburgh, and off to the west, a wee bit cooler, still above normal, but cooler. We've got some upper 40s here and there. Looks like Neodesha, Parsons are colder spots, both at 46. And off to the south and east, a little bit warmer. Cassville, Anderson, Grove, and Jay, all at 58 is some of the warmer locations for us. So get some clouds rolling through. We're going to have some partly cloudy skies initially, and we should eventually start to go mostly clear and then ultimately just end up with clear skies by the late evening and overnight hours before clouds start to return early tomorrow morning. Kids out the door, we're looking at about the upper 40s and around the mid 60s for lunch and recess, low 70s again. High temperatures today very similar to yesterday as well. Mid 50s by 9, mid 60s by noon, low 70s for those highs. Southwest winds gusting to 20. And again, we're very dry. As I mentioned, we also have new fire weather watches for Oklahoma and Arkansas. We're going to go over all those details with you and talk about that temperature drop this weekend here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. After nearly 3.5 hours of testimony largely in opposition, the Joplin City Council voted yesterday to rezone and annex the controversial Wildwood Ranch property into the city. The decision advances a much disputed 540-acre development despite months of community resistance. The Joplin City Council voted 6-3 in favor of annexing the land at the intersection of Central City Road and West 20th Street and 7-2 in favor of rezoning it from residential to heavy industrial. Last night's meeting was moved to Missouri Southern's Corley Auditorium to make room for a bigger audience. The council's decision came after many residents expressed environmental and economic concerns about the potential for a data center on the land.
I definitely think that this is bringing a lot of more division into our community, and I think that it's just not going to be very good for the environment, and I think that we need to be focusing on schools right now. I think that we need to be focusing on small businesses and just other things of that nature.
The meeting got heated at several points, and some members of the public were escorted out. Wildwood Ranch reached an agreement with the city back in 2009 to have the land annexed into the city by 2029. Well, Monday night, the Carthage School Board heard a proposal for changes to Pleasant Valley Elementary. Superintendent Luke Boyer says the district needs to expand its Beacon Autism Center, which currently has a waiting list, and that Pleasant Valley is the only campus that could support that growth. If changes move forward, Pleasant Valley's attendance zone would likely be absorbed into Steadley Elementary zone. No final action was taken last night. Well, in Oklahoma, fast-moving wildfires force evacuations across the Oklahoma Panhandle. In Woodward, authorities evacuated areas southwest of the city center, including the local high school. Emergency officials opened a number of shelters for displaced residents. Fires also struck closer to the 4 states yesterday as crews in Newton County responded to a structure fire. That call came in around 11:30. Multiple area crews responded to the 2-alarm fire on Eland Road. While crews say high winds made their efforts a challenge, they managed to contain and control the fire in about 20 minutes. No one was home at the time, though crews say they did rescue a dog. One fire that initially started in northwest Oklahoma quickly spread into Clark County, Kansas, forcing evacuations in Englewood and later in Ashland and Hardin, Kansas. Further north, multiple highway closures are in effect, including along Interstate 70 between Colby and Oakley due to crashes caused by blowing dust and zero visibility. Well, a community in central Arkansas is stepping up to help a small-town firefighter in need. As Christopher Gay reports, Trevor Eastman's home burned to the ground a few weeks ago, and he's thankful to be alive.
There's no explanation other than the good Lord why I woke up.
Around 4 o'clock on the morning of January 25th, Eastman woke up smelling smoke outside his bedroom. He grabbed his bedroom doorknob and felt that it was hot. With time running out, that left him with just one option for escape.
I busted the window out in my bedroom and climbed out the window. I got out in a pair of underwear and some shoes.
Eastman called a friend with the Plainview Volunteer Fire Department, who arrived on scene with the remainder of the town's firefighters 10 minutes later after traveling on 3 inches of ice that caked the roadways. Eastman said waiting felt like forever, and he had to stay out of the cold the best he could.
At one point, I actually crawled in the doghouse to stay warm.
In the aftermath, his home, that he had just paid off after 2 years, was reduced to rubble. All of his possessions gone, including the gun collection he had been building since he was 10.
The guns, the ammo, the pictures of my grandparents, stuff my mom and dad gave me. You know, I was tore up about it and in my head about it a whole lot, the first few days, but like everybody told me, they're replaceable.
Now the community that he has known for 10 years is doing what they can to support him.
The amount of hugs and the amount of love that came from this place is just unreal.
This afternoon, the city organized a benefit chili dinner to feed him, and a friend has already opened up his home for Eastman to stay in. But with his home and possessions destroyed, I asked,
what's next for you?
What's next for me? Further my training with the fire department. I'm definitely going to try to push others in the community to join, to dedicate their time. We need volunteer firefighters everywhere throughout Arkansas.
Eastman says he's thankful for the help he's received over the past few weeks, which came from every corner of the town and from throughout the county. Authorities say the cause of the fire is still unknown. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather coming up on the KOAM Morning News. Senate Democrats send a new proposal to end a government funding standoff as an environmental disaster unfolds. And mild temps coming to an end in the 4 states. Chris has a look at your weekly forecast. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. We'll be right back. Topping Nation Watch, the partial government shutdown over funding for the Department of Homeland Security that began over the weekend still has no end in sight. But negotiations are taking place between the White House and Senate Democrats. Erica Brown has more details from Capitol Hill.
Good afternoon, folks.
Senate Democrats have sent their latest proposal to the White House in an effort to end the stalemate over funding for the Department of Homeland Security.
Are you going to sit down with Democrats this week on DHS funding, sir?
I will, but we have to protect our law enforcement.
The White House says the two sides are still far apart as Democrats demand changes to how ICE and Border Patrol are carrying out the Trump administration's immigration enforcement actions.
They're part of the whole system that is working.
Democrats say the system is broken.
As we horrifically saw in Minneapolis with the cold-blooded killings of Renee Nicole Good and Alex Preddy.
While progress moves at a snail's pace, a pipe collapses, sending millions of gallons of wastewater flowing into the Potomac River. DC Water says it will be mid-March before it's repaired.
We were a little cautious about coming out here today, knowing that there was a spill, and worried about what that impact would be to people down here.
President Trump has called both the partial shutdown and wastewater in the Potomac River, quote, Democrat-caused disasters, and says he's waiting for calls to help with cleanup of the river. President Trump posted on social media that the federal government will need to step in, and FEMA, which is part of the Department of Homeland Security, will play a role in the response. So far, the shutdown is not impacting most Americans, with TSA agents still showing up for work, despite the looming threat that they may soon miss a paycheck. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
TSA agents have not yet missed any paychecks. Their next check is not due until February 27th, when they'll receive a partial paycheck. After that, they will not receive any pay until the shutdown comes to an end. Well, still to come, a civil rights icon who marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is remembered for his lifelong fight for justice. Plus, mild temps coming to an end in the 4 states. Chris has a look at your Wednesday forecast. And colleagues of the late Reverend Jesse Jackson are vowing to keep hope alive. His family says he died peacefully yesterday, surrounded by loved ones at the age of 84. Natalie Brand has a look at how the civil rights leader is being remembered.
Outside the Rainbow Push Coalition office in Chicago Tuesday, Carolyn Dunbar brought flowers to honor the late Reverend Jesse Jackson, saying the loss feels like family.
I'm going to miss him. Everything that he stood for us as a people. My tears are real.
In New York, the Reverend Al Sharpton described him as a mentor.
So he made me believe even a kid on welfare in Brownsville, Brooklyn, could be somebody because of Jesse Jackson.
Jackson, a civil rights leader who marched alongside Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., went on to found his own organizations committed to fighting for justice and equality for the underrepresented.
My constituency is the desperate, the damned, the disinherited.
In the 80s, Reverend Jackson ran for president twice. While he faced criticism in his first campaign for anti-Jewish comments, he's credited with expanding the Democratic coalition.
His presidential campaigns of 84 and 88 were influential in how he conducted a campaign to really bring people who were locked out and left out.
In a statement, former President Barack Obama called Jackson a true giant and said he laid the foundation for his own campaign.
President Trump paid tribute to Jackson in a social media post, calling him a good man with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts.
The flag was lowered to half-staff at the Historic District building in Washington, D.C., where Jackson pushed for D.C. statehood. Despite declining health in recent years, Jackson continued to make public appearances, including at the 2024 Democratic National Convention, where he received a standing ovation. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
The Rainbow Push Coalition says it will announce arrangements for celebration of life services, including public events. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got another warm and breezy day out there. As I mentioned, we do have some fire weather watches in place. We're ready to talk about that and the cooler weather on the way this weekend when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Here's your Skywatch weather forecast from the trusted Roper Kia Weather Center.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:20 on this Thursday morning. We're going to start again with our fire weather alerts. So these are new ones that came out. These are for tomorrow, and they will be into northeastern Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. So we've got very dry conditions, and we've got those very gusty winds across the area that we're going to have to contend with. On to the future track. So we've got some partly cloudy skies starting out our day. We should do some clearing as we head into the afternoon and ultimately end today with some clear skies. And then we'll start to go partly cloudy once again very early tomorrow morning. And we still have the gusty winds. In fact, between today, tonight, and tomorrow, the winds are going to start to ramp up again across the area, because remember, tomorrow is when the system, low pressure, passes by just off to our northwest. That's what's going to bring our temperatures down, because as it gets a little further off to the east, we'll start to see these winds shifting on us, initially out of the west by the evening, and then eventually out of the northwest as we go late evening and overnight, Thursday into Friday. We go into Friday. Friday overall doesn't look too bad. We've got some clouds here and there, but we will be cooler. We'll be considerably cooler. We'll be considerably closer to normal as well. But as we talked about yesterday, this big temperature drop compared to where we have been, where we're going to be today, it's going to make it just feel that much colder. We're starting today at about 50. Bear in mind, about 50 is the average high for this time of year. We're going to go into the low 60s by 11 o'clock this morning. Not just like yesterday, upper 60s, low 70s for those highs. We'll have the southwest winds gusting upwards of 20 miles an hour. Into the evening, again, we'll have clear skies is the expectation. Back down to the mid 50s by 10. And not dropping off too terribly much as we go into the overnight hours. Just kind of hovering out there as the south winds start to ramp up, gusting upwards of 25. We go into tomorrow, those gusts now upwards of about 30 to 35 in some cases. We're into the upper 60s. And we get colder. Like I said, Friday's pretty close to normal. And then into the weekend, start of next week, we're actually dropping a bit below normal. Still have that morning rain, snow mix kind of situation. For Saturday, it's a low chance, maybe some isolated to widely scattered showers, which again, when it's cold in the morning, could be a light wintry mix. No major concerns there other than maybe for bridges and overpasses, because even though it's been pretty warm, they have the ability to get colder faster. As we go to the weekend, again, below normal. Then as we go into next week, we get another little warm up. And then we're looking at the possibility of some cooler weather again as we head toward the end of next week. That is a check of your forecast. We're going to send it over to Samantha now with Health Watch.
Thanks, Chris. Drowning is the #1 cause of death in the United States for children ages 1 to 4. As the nation marks Black History Month, stories of resilience, innovation, and community impact take center stage. Jobina Fortson-Evans introduces us to the founder of a Black-owned swim school who is committed to saving lives.
Welcome to Swim School.
We are the largest Black-owned swim school here in Metro Atlanta, and I do say that with great pride.
Trish Miller isn't an expert swimmer who wanted to start an aquatic school for kids and adults. This place is the result of trauma.
Really in response to my own drowning experience in the water. So my background is in public health, so I knew intimately how the statistics affect certain demographics.
According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, nearly 70% of Black children do not know how to swim. Black children between the ages of 10 and 14 drown at rates more than 7 times higher than white children.
And so that's why we do the work that we do, focusing on those demographics that have high rates of drowning. SWEM, SWEM is Afrikaans. We were very intentional on paying homage to really the continent where we all came from, and where unfortunately many of the attitudes, opinions, and feelings that we have around the water originated.
Swim School's curriculum focuses on building connection between community and water. Most instructors live in the neighborhoods they serve,
so that people can see themselves in the space, and in many cases know the people that are actually teaching them or guarding the water. And so that creates a manner of trust.
And it looks like they're having fun. Riley Cochran likes to kick
and swim underwater.
Wesley is just learning.
Of course, I'm always going to be there to supervise him, but I feel comfortable that he's comfortable in the water as well.
Miller didn't know how to swim when she founded the school in 2017. She celebrated her first lap in 2019.
We celebrate first laps, because that first lap for me was almost like a baptism.
An experience she hopes to bring to people everywhere. Jobina Fortson-Evans, CBS News, Atlanta.
Every week, Swim School serves more than 1,000 students across Metro Atlanta. There's also a scholarship program available that's eliminating financial barriers to classes. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. We'll be right back. Right now at 5:30, 9 months after a devastating tornado, survivors still battle red tape and financial hardship.
And we've got another warm and a windy day across the region for us. And we also have renewed fire danger concerns. A look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, lakefront property owners get new options for resolving boundary disputes with federal authorities.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:28. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It is Wednesday, February the 18th, halfway through this week and cruising into the weekend, but it's going to be a much colder weekend compared to where we have been here lately because we've been so far above normal for a while.
Yeah, this is going to be a seasonable weekend. It's going to feel like what February normally does.
It's going to be a little bit below normal as we go. It's going to be a little colder than average as we head into the weekend. So, and the thing is that it's definitely going to feel cold because yesterday 60s, 70s, today 60s, 70s. Tomorrow's the last day before those temperatures begin to drop off. Let's start with our live look from downtown Pittsburgh this morning. And again, we've got some partly cloudy skies across the area, and that'll be the case through the morning, and the skies are expected to clear later today. Westco camera, 7th and Range line looking good. Same from the KDOT camera just south of Pittsburgh looking north along 69. And of course, final stop, 20th and Range line, MoDOT camera there. Also looking good as folks start to get this day underway. There's those fire weather watches into northeastern Oklahoma and northwest Arkansas. These will officially take effect tomorrow. And as of right now, they don't have a set expiration time, but this will be because of the dry conditions and the very gusty winds we're going to have tomorrow. It'll be a bit breezy today, but not as breezy as yesterday and not as breezy today as it will be tomorrow. Temperatures this morning very similar to yesterday. We're at 55 in Joplin, 54 in Pittsburgh. Across the area, a little cooler out to the west. We've got some mid-40s. Yates Center, Iola 46, Neodesha a little cooler there at 45. And as you head south and east, a little bit warmer. And right now our warm spot is Grove, sitting at 58. So again, partly cloudy skies to start the day. As we head into the afternoon, these skies should begin to clear. We'll have some gusty southwest winds. Like I said, not like yesterday, not like tomorrow, but still a bit on the breezy side. Outdoor burning still not a good idea. Kids out the door, we're looking about the upper 40s, mid 60s by lunch and recess. As they head home, we're going to go into the low 70s. Highs today, upper 60s, low 70s. Southwest winds 5 to 10, gusting to 20. All right, so we got the fire danger. We've got the mild temperatures. I said they're coming to an end as we head into late Thursday. We're going to break it down and tell you just how cold it's going to get this weekend in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. 9 months ago, a generational tornado tore through North St. Louis, leaving a trail of collapsed brick and shattered lives. As Brent Solomon reports, survivors say they're still living in the nightmare.
Across Kensington Avenue, workers in hard hats are still visible on ladders, slowly chipping away at the damage left behind from the EF3 tornado 9 months ago.
It's so depressing. I mean, it still looks like a war zone.
During the May 16th tornado, Bill Atkins Sr. was just 2 feet from his basement when debris sheared off his lower leg. Today, he walks his property with a prosthetic and a cane, surveying what still needs to be done.
I was one of the people that were underinsured, so at this point, working out of my pocket. We're still waiting to hear from the city.
It's a similar story for Kim George Holt. Her North City property was supposed to be her retirement home. Instead, it was red tagged after the roof was torn off and black mold set in.
We had a contractor run off on us and took the money and just decided that, sue me for what you gave me, not what the whole contract is for. And that's pretty much how it was.
Both say they've applied for every city program available, including the private property assistance that offers up to $50,000. They say they've been met with red tape.
We have been failed because there's no help at all.
Mayor Kara Spencer has said the city is doing everything it can to help neighbors recover from this generational event. Officials extended the application deadline to February 28th. For Atkins, who is currently staying with family, the ask is simple.
The expectation is that the city gives us the money that they're holding on to make the repairs.
The U.S. Postal Service wants to relocate the Lamar Post Office due to space issues at the current building on West 11th Street. Postal officials are considering 3 options: moving retail services to a new location, relocating carriers to a larger facility, or building an entirely new post office within 3 miles of the current site. Retail services will continue at the current location until a new facility is ready. Residents have 30 days to submit comments on their proposal. Well, a festival that takes place every Labor Day weekend in Pittsburgh has officially come to an end. After 40 years, Little Balkans Festival Committee has announced they are no more. The committee deliberated back in October and voted to dissolve the organization due to lack of volunteers.
I announced that I would eventually step away, and the plan was to finish my involvement with the association at the end of the 40th anniversary, which would have been in fall of 2025.
Not many were left to continue the committee, leading to it being dissolved. The Little Balkans Festival Facebook page will no longer be available on March 1st, but their webpage will be rolled over to the Quilt Guild. Well, new federal law is changing how property disputes are handled around Table Rock Lake. For years, homeowners with structures on federal land often had to remove them. But as Adam Woodbury reports, officials say there's finally been more flexibility in how those cases are handled.
For years, if the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers determined a private structure crossed onto federal land at Table Rock Lake, the answer was often simple: remove it. But Congressman Eric Burleson says it was a frustrating approach for a lot of people.
So their answer before was always a very hard and fast, no, you have to remove your object, or you have to move your structure off of Corps property.
That's where Burleson says the Water Resources Development Act, or WRDA, came into play, a new law giving the Corps more flexibility in handling boundary disputes.
The law that I passed makes them be flexible with the landowner, and as long as they're not impacting flooding, then they should be flexible with those landowners.
This new process allows us to help resolve and provide an out grant or an option to purchase that specific area of the land rather quickly.
Lieutenant Colonel Jesse Carter says the Corps is also implementing updated division guidance to streamline the process and apply a more consistent approach. To help landowners navigate the changes, the Little Rock District is hosting 3 drop-in workshops this week.
The purpose of the meetings is to allow the landowners around the lake to come forth and ask the subject matter expertise these hard questions, allow them to work through the issues.
I spoke to some homeowners along Table Rock Lake who say they welcome the changes.
That's great. I would love it to be a more personal type instead of cut and dry.
In Christine Taylor's case, when she moved into her house 8 years ago, they replaced a set of stairs on the back of their property, and part of those steps crosses over the easement.
I mean, it's just little things that make our life easier, because it is such a small area, you know, to work with.
The Corps has meetings scheduled this week to explain the changes. The Corps also says you can submit information online. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Women ditch travel companions for solo Arizona getaways. We'll have the details. In Consumer Watch, you see them at gas stations and stores in the Show Me State. We're talking about those gaming machines, the ones that look like slot machines. But according to a federal judge, they're against the law. The ruling targets machines manufactured by Torch Electronics, which had argued for years that its devices were games or skill rather than slot machines. Lawsuits against Torch Electronics argued the machines are untaxed, unregulated, and accessible to children and vulnerable people. The ruling could result in machines disappearing from gas stations. This ruling also comes at a time when the Missouri Attorney General is suing 5 retail shops for having the machines.
That industry has been making millions, hundreds of millions of dollars here in Missouri, unregulated. And my concern is that it will lead to real organized crime in the state if we allow lawless activity to go on without law enforcement doing anything about it.
Torch Electronics said in a statement it remains confident its games adhere to the letters and spirit of the law and intends to appeal the ruling. Well, more women are deciding to travel by themselves. One recent report from Grandview Research finds women make up over 2/3 of solo travelers around the world. Wendy Gillette reports on the trend from Scottsdale, Arizona.
The Fairmont Scottsdale Princess offers a cozy Arizona escape for travelers who prefer secluded time alone. Private villas with fireplaces and balconies overlooking desert flora right near the Sisley Paris Spa within a spa, a big draw for women who want a more exclusive experience. Miles away at the JW Marriott Scottsdale Camelback, one of those where we stayed for a special rate, the spa just underwent a $26 million renovation, including a hot and cold wellness circuit and zero-gravity chairs that utilize vibration and sound wave therapy to encourage relaxation.
We feel that the spa will be a draw for women travelers to this market.
Capturing solo women travelers is big business. Grandview Research finds the segment generated over $262 million in revenue in 2024, expected to reach almost $600 million by 2030.
Also in Scottsdale, Savannah Wellness Resort and Spa estimates almost a third of its guests are women traveling by themselves.
I think they're coming to us because they want to travel alone. But they don't want to feel lonely.
Jennifer Klaus from Missoula, Montana will be back in May. Her 6th visit to the resort, almost all of them by herself. She says solo stays prioritize her needs.
Even if you travel really well with somebody, there's always that part that is worried about what is the other person experiencing or what are they wanting to experience.
Experiences at Savannah include days filled with all types of classes, spa appointments, and even trying out a ropes course.
That's it, yes, you got it.
Starting at the bottom and quickly climbing high, a challenge only tackled alone. Wendy Gillette, CBS News, Scottsdale, Arizona.
Now, the survey from Grandview Research also finds the #1 reason women are traveling by themselves is prioritizing freedom in their itineraries. Well, that's it for Consumer Watch. And now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, again, we've got the warm and windy conditions. We have dry conditions out there, so we still have that increased fire danger as we head through today. We're also going to stay above normal through at least tomorrow. And the good news is, while that cool down does arrive, it won't arrive until late in the day on Thursday. So we don't have to worry about it, plummeting or anything like that in the afternoon. And our temperatures will continue to drop into this weekend. They'll even be below average in some cases this weekend, and maybe even some light wintry precipitation. We're going to break down the details for you when the KOAM Morning News returns.
Fewer farmers are growing the food we need to eat these days. Details in today's Ag Day Minute.
I'm Clinton Griffiths with today's Ag Day Minute. A new USDA report says the number of farms in the U.S. continues to decline. The number of farms shrank by 15,000 last year alone, bringing the total to 1.86 million farms. And the number of farms decreased in every economic category except for farms making $1 million or more in sales each year, which actually saw an increase of 50 farms. USDA says it's ready to roll out $1 billion in assistance for specialty crops, sugar, and commodities. These are crops not covered under the previously announced Farmer Bridge Assistance Program. And the agency says these will also be one-time bridge payments to help address market disruptions, elevated input costs, persistent inflation, and market losses from foreign competitors. And NASCAR is getting into bioethanol fuel. It's becoming the first major motorsports series to utilize zero-carbon bioethanol in combination with regular fuel. The bioethanol fuel will come from Poet. The fuel is made from fermenting the sugars and starches found in plants, including corn, sugarcane, and ag waste. Now, Poet produces more than 3 billion gallons of bioethanol annually. NASCAR says the deal represents a home fuel advantage, pairing a great American sport with energy produced by American farmers and manufacturers. For more Ag News, watch Ag Day weekdays on the station or get updates over at agweb.com.
Here's your Skywatch weather forecast from the trusted Roper Kia Weather Center.
We've got fire weather concerns again across the area, but we have new fire weather watches for Oklahoma and Arkansas. These will go into effect tomorrow and last through the majority of the day as we continue to deal with very dry conditions and gusty winds. Now, today will be a bit breezy still, but not as breezy as yesterday and not as windy as it's going to be tonight into our Thursday. So here's the big issue we have is with the humidity levels. They're going to continue to drop as we head into the afternoon and evening, and you can see by 5 o'clock, most of us are in that 20 to 25% range on humidity levels, and then they will be even lower, though, as we go into Thursday afternoon and into the evening hours, dropping into the teens at some points before we try and see a little bit of rebounding late in the day. But those dry conditions are going to be the issue, tied in with the winds. So like I said, today isn't that bad, but tomorrow, well, tonight into tomorrow, those winds ramp up. Now we've got those gusts 20, 25, 30 miles an hour in some cases, and it will continue to remain very breezy as we head into the afternoon and evening hours, and that's why the concern is also that any kind of fire out there will be able to spread very quickly as we go through the day, and we'll finally start to get a break from the wind as we head into Friday, which will be nice because it'll be cooler on Friday, and we don't want the gusty winds to make it feel any colder than what it's already going to be. It's not going to be bad on Friday. It's just not going to be as warm as it has been. Cloud cover, again, we are looking at those partly cloudy skies today to start. As we go into the afternoon and evening, we'll start transitioning to clear skies. Overnight, we'll start going to partly cloudy skies. Heading into early Thursday morning, it's breezy again tonight and tomorrow. We are otherwise remaining dry. No rain chances out there. These dry conditions continue throughout the day on Thursday. We're looking again at mostly clear skies, a few clouds here and there. I'll have, again, mostly clear to partly cloudy skies as we go late Thursday into Friday. Our Friday, partly cloudy once again, still dry, and those temperatures are definitely going to be on the cooler side. Through the morning hours, we're going to start about 50, go into the low 60s by 11 a.m. Bear in mind the average high this time of year is 50. Our highs today, upper 60s, low 70s, and those southwest winds gusting upwards of 20. Into the evening, clear skies continue back into the low 50s, and south winds start picking up a bit, gusting to 25. Southwest winds tomorrow be gusting upwards of 25, 30, maybe a little bit more in some cases, especially down south. And then after that cooler air settles in, look at that, we're back down into the 20s tomorrow night. We're average for Friday, a little below average into the weekend and even to the start of next week. And we still have that slight chance of some scattered showers, which very early in the morning could be a brief rain-snow mix, and the only concerns we have are going to be with bridges and overpasses because they'll be able to get colder faster than the ground. And again, these chances not phenomenal. We'll be looking all right for Sunday, again just on the chilly side. Another little warm-up next week and maybe another cool down heading into next weekend. That is a check of your forecast. We're going to send it over to Samantha now with sports.
Thanks, Chris. Today in sports, Missouri Sports Hall of Fame is settling into a new home in downtown Springfield after leaving its longtime home in the southeast part of the city. It's a temporary location. Officials with the Hall of Fame say high renovation costs contributed to the decision to leave its former home.
Once we started getting renovation costs and all that, we realized that that wasn't in our budget anytime soon by any means. And with the tournament leaving Highland Springs, we thought maybe it was the time that we could relocate somewhere, center Springfield and be more closer to our supporters and sponsors and also, closer to our potential sponsors.
The new Hall of Fame is currently under construction next door, preparing to open a smaller free museum space in approximately 30 days. This new museum will feature rotating exhibits that will change with different sports seasons. That's it for sports. We'll be right back. Wild turkeys were caught on camera chasing a UPS driver as he tried to make deliveries in a Connecticut neighborhood. Video shows the driver running between houses and taking cover in his truck while shouting at the birds to back up. Neighbors say the turkeys often chase cars and disrupt traffic, but this is the first time they've seen them go after a person, with one resident calling the scene hilarious from her window.
Well, maybe they had a package or something they were expecting.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably what it was. They've been waiting for that delivery for quite some time, and then here it is, and he's not giving it to them.
Or maybe they know what he does on Thanksgiving, and they're ready for revenge.
Maybe there are Thanksgiving-type items being delivered. You know, you can order cookware and stuff like that online, probably turkey basters and big pots and stuff, and then maybe that's like, you can't deliver this, dude. We're not dealing with it. We're not going through that loss again. All right. Well, I don't think I've ever been attacked by birds. My mom was chased by a duck once, and then she was feeding a duck. And this is a true story here. She's feeding a duck up at King Jack Park in Webb City, and while she's squatted down feeding one duck, another one sneaks up and pulled her pants down. And then just ran off. I know, right? Like those types of things. It's the crazy stuff that happens, but that is a true story. That was a long time ago, but it was quite amusing. And our weather, well, it's amusing because Mother Nature is going to start to change things up for us. Today, though, another mild, breezy day. 50 to start, 63 by 11 a.m. Our highs today, just like yesterday, upper 60s and low 70s. As southwest winds breezy, but not as much as yesterday. Gusts to 20. Now, winds will start to pick up late this evening into the overnight hours, and we'll have clear skies into the evening and then start going partly cloudy late tonight, very early tomorrow morning. And those south winds now gusting to 25. Tomorrow, those south winds could gust anywhere from about 30, maybe 40 miles an hour in some cases. We're still mild, upper 60s. But then that cold air settles in by the late evening and overnight, back down to the 20s. Near normal for Friday, below average through the weekend and the start of next week. Again, just an isolated chance of a rain-snow mix, which could then transition straight up to showers once we start to warm. So no major concerns with that, but maybe some slick spots on bridges and overpasses. And we go into next week, temperatures look to warm again for a little while, back into the 50s, so not as warm as where we have been. And then another cool down possible heading into next weekend. Let's check your forecast. We're back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.